Great pleasure today to welcome Jake Cooper, who, very pleased to say, has signed a new contract at Altrincham Football Club. Jake, congratulations on your new contract, and we'll come to that in a moment. But first of all, let's look at the last action last Saturday at Solihull Moors. Hard fought 1-0 victory at a difficult place to go to, and a place where we've struggled in recent times, big style. But it was a really professional performance.
Yeah, I think, obviously all the games at the teams towards the top are all going to be tough. Obviously they was one position ahead of us, and the lads really dug in, to be fair. If we were being honest, we'd probably say it weren't the best game we've played, but we just stuck in, limited them to little chances and took our chance when we had it, really.
They, of course, went into the game having lost starman Josh Kelly in midweek, and there's a few things like that going for us just at the minute.
Yeah, I think if you look at other results as well in games where we've picked up a good result, or even sometimes when we haven't played, our game's been postponed, results have gone our way for us. So yeah, we're having a bit of fortune at the minute, but like the gaffer says, you make your own luck.
What do you make of Solihull? Because they were the last team to lose a game this season in the National League, and since then the form's been pretty well up and down, but they're still there.
Yeah, obviously they had a good start, flying at the start of the season, but all teams are going to have a little patch where it's a bit spiky up and down. But they're a good team, and at the day they won't be fourth if they weren't a good team, and they've picked up results against big teams. Like they played Halifax on Tuesday, and picked up a good result. So there's a good team in there, but I think we were just really good on the day.
Yeah, it's quite an eye-catching result to win 3-1 at Halifax. We know how difficult that is a place to go, and they're another side looking to push towards the playoffs. So certainly one of the sides that if we do make the playoffs, we could come up against.
Yeah, I think if we keep in there, we're doing well at the minute, and I think of all the teams we've played recently, we've played quite a few in and around the playoffs, and I think we've performed well in all the games and picked up quite a lot of results. So I think as a team we're happy where we're at the minute, and just want to kick on and see how high we can finish.
And our last home game, outstanding performance against Eastleigh, who we completely washed away without trace pretty well, and to a man, we were outstanding on that day.
Yeah, I think we all turned up on that day. The performance was really good. I think from the first whistle, we just started quick, got out the gates quick, and just controlled the whole game, really. I feel like that's probably one of the only games where, for the full game, like I felt we were in total control. And obviously the scoreline resulted in that.
Tuesday night's scheduled game against Dorking Wanderers unfortunately fell foul of the weather. That's frustrating for everybody, management, players, fans alike. But we've still got enough time to get these games in.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Obviously the weather's not great at the minute. But it's just one of the things you've got to put up with at the end of the day. Games are going to get cancelled and they're going to be rescheduled and they're going to have to be played. So it's just a matter of fitting them in, obviously, when we can here and there, and just focusing, really.
And our next action is a home game against Rochdale. Should be a huge crowd on Saturday. It's the first time that these two clubs have ever met in the National League at the J. Davidson Stadium. And we're flying, and it's a big game for them because they're just dropping off a little bit.
Yeah, obviously as well they turned us over at their place, so we've got to look at that, and we'll go through the game, and I'm sure we'll look at that game and look at what we did well, what we didn't do well, obviously on the day, and hopefully try and get 3 points back from them.
They were outstanding on the night. We didn't play too badly at all, but they fully merited their victory.
Yeah. At the end of the day, they're a good side. I think they're just outside the playoffs, and like you said, they've been a little bit spiky, but they've got real quality, real good players. And yeah, I'm sure it'll be a good turnout at the ground, and it'll be a good game to watch.
So you're the latest player who's signed a new contract at Altrincham Football Club. Tell us when the negotiations started and how they've gone.
Yeah, it started probably a few months ago. It's been pretty straightforward, really. Just getting all the little details and stuff sorted. But apart from that, being pretty straightforward. And yeah, I'm delighted to have signed.
And when you go back to the start of your career at Altrincham, when you came on loan from Rotherham United, it's just over 2 years ago. And when we interviewed Eddie Jones when he signed his new contract, pointed out that he and Chris Clark all made your debut on the same day in what was a significant result, the 2-2 draw against Woking, because it stopped the rot. You came in at a very difficult time.
Yeah, I think if you can remember the start of the game were tough. Obviously coming in and trying to impress, and I think we conceded very early. But yeah, it were good. Obviously, it's good to be still with a couple of the boys now as well. And to see how the club's kicked on from there, really, has been a great progression.
And in that first season, you helped us stay in the National League, which was the number one objective, and you did come in at a difficult time. That went well for you.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed it. The lads were great as soon as I come in. The gaffer showed his faith in me and chucked me straight in. Like as you were saying in my debut game, I think I only trained the Thursday before that. And yeah, really good. I think we picked up some decent results and sort of got ourselves to safety. So yeah, it was successful for me in playing games and successful keeping the club up.
And then last season, in the first half of the season, you weren't an absolute regular, but you did play plenty of games. But from the end of November onwards, you sustained an injury and didn't really feature after that point.
Yeah, picked up a little groin injury in a behind closed doors game, and struggled to recover from it. Really, just it was still there months and months later, and had a few scans. So it ended up taking me about 3 months to fully recover and be back in training. Which is really tough for me because it's something that I've not had before. But I feel better for it now. If it were to happen again, I feel like I'd know how to deal with it better, and yeah, just glad to be back fully fit.
And you came into this season, into pre-season, with a bit of a mission.
Yeah, obviously, as we've said with the injury, but even with the performances before my injury, I felt like I didn't show what I was really all about and what I could do and what the gaffer had brought me in for. So I felt like I had a bit of a point to prove, just to get out there and show what I can do and play to the best of my ability. And I feel like I've done that.
And you got a chance in the team fairly early on. I think it was game 4 against Boreham Wood. And then it was the bank holiday weekend where Phil and Neil rotated the squad, so it was always likely you were going to get one game out of the two. But after that, once the unfortunate injury to James Jones at the beginning of September, after the Bromley defeat, you were in, and you've been an ever-present ever since then.
Yeah, I think obviously it's worked out well for me. Obviously not for James with me being able to get the chance to play. But I feel like I've done well in the games, and I think from the start of the season, like the first game of the season, I wasn't even in the squad. So I've just had to keep on fighting, keep on working hard in training, and then performing once I've got my chance. And I feel like I've done that, and I'm happy where I'm at. I'm happy that I'm performing out there, and obviously it helps that the team's doing well as well.
Was there a point in the season where you thought, I'm doing really well now, I can see this?
Well, I had a good pre-season. Games-wise, I felt fit. No problem with my injury, and I just felt confident, really. I think that's been the biggest thing for me, is just being confident in my own ability and knowing that once I'm out there, that I know what I'm going to do in different situations, and I'm just comfortable, really. So once I come in for the Boreham Wood game and did well, it just kicks on from there, really, and I just had no fear, really, and just happy to step out there and play whenever I'm picked.
A key result from my perspective in the season was the 0-0 draw at Wealdstone after we'd lost a couple of games against Bromley and Barnet, and that was a really tough afternoon. Wealdstone, a very good side. We're playing them again next Tuesday at the J Davidson Stadium, but that was certainly one where we had to be absolutely on our mettle defensively.
Yeah, it was a tough shift, that game. Obviously, we ended up with a clean sheet, which is a credit to all the lads, but obviously good for me coming in and proving a point and trying to stake a claim. But yeah, a real tough shift. I think it was quite a warm day, and to get a point and take that home is a really good result.
I spoke to Matty Costello a couple of weeks ago about him getting sent off at Halifax, and he was talking about him being a very different person on the pitch than off the pitch. You're clearly a very relaxed player on the pitch, and that's how you come across off the pitch as well. So it seems like you're the same person on and off the pitch.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a little bit of a nasty streak, but I like to stay calm, just stay laid back. Ultimately, I go into games knowing what I want to do and what I'm going to do in different situations. Obviously, not like to be too laid back. Do you know what I mean? You've got to get stuck in. You've got to do the nasty side sometimes. But yeah, very similar on and off the pitch.
And how much has the full-time training at Altrincham Football Club this season and all the additional stuff that we're able to do now as a full-time team in terms of the analysis and the feedback and the management and the coaching, how much of a difference has that made? Yeah,
it's massively. I think obviously going from part-time to full-time is ultimately the biggest, with just the contact time you get, the time you get to be able to work on oppositions and shapes and different things like that. I feel like that's the biggest thing. Obviously all the analysis stuff, you sort of know what you're coming up against like before you play it, which is obviously a massive help. And I think that's been like key to our progression and some of the results we've picked up this year.
And in 2 years, you've come through a lot of changes with the football club. You started as a full-time footballer with Rotherham United, training with Altrincham Tuesday night, Thursday night, training with Rotherham for the rest of the week. How difficult was that to do?
Yeah, it was tough, to be fair. It was tough, obviously. With living in Sheffield, the Thursday night was the killer, really. Getting back late and then having to get back up Friday morning. But to be fair, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time here. Like I said, when it was part-time, the lads were really good. And yeah, it was just really good, really.
And then first season, full-time, you're still based in Sheffield and you're travelling over, I think, with Ross Barrows and Zach Goodson. And Sheffield doesn't sound too far away, but every day that must get a bit of a grind.
Yeah, it was tough, to be fair. It was tough. The early mornings and then unfortunately getting stuck in traffic on the way home seemed to drag out the journeys, and by the time I get home I'd just be so tired and end up going to sleep and then struggling to sleep at night. But yeah, it's so much better now. Obviously I'm based up here now, which is great for my recovery and just being local around the place. Yeah, so it's got miles better.
So you're now based locally in Altrincham, but you're still from Sheffield. So what does your week look like?
So I'll go home for my days off to see Mrs. and my family. So I'll go home Tuesday, whether that's after a night game or training, and then come back up either Wednesday night, Thursday morning for the rest of the week, and then go home after the game Saturday.
And that's really important because a huge amount goes into preparing the players physically and mentally for what is a very, very tough schedule in the National League. So it's absolutely vital that all that work doesn't get undone by tiring you out with all the travelling.
Yeah, I think it's massive. I think if you look at the way the game's going, it's just getting more and more physical. The distances are getting higher and higher. And I think stuff like sleep and recovery is massive if you want to achieve big things, whether it's in this division or higher. So it's been a massive bonus for me being able to stay up here a good few nights a week and just be able to be settled and recover.
and we're really on a high on the pitch at the minute. We're playing some great stuff and getting a huge amount of respect from opposition and opposition managers.
Yeah, I think the one we've probably ultimately got the most respect from is probably the Chesterfield game, which we've ended up losing. But I think to turn up to, obviously they're a big outfit in this division, and play some really nice stuff on a really cold night. I mean, unfortunately, we didn't come away with anything, but obviously we've got a lot of plaudits, and people are seeing the way that the gaffer and Sovs have set us up and the way we like to play, and we're showing it out there.
Well, congratulations on extending your contract at Altrincham Football Club. That's really good news. I'm sure it will go down really well with the Alty fans, because you've become a big favourite at the heart of the defence this season. And let's look forward to all that continuing, and who knows what we might achieve.
Cheers. Thank you.